Hi, I'm Lee. I'm a New Zealander living in the East Riding of Yorkshire, and this is my podcast about my handmade life. I'm on Instagram as Louleigh _ and Ravelry as Louleigh. I have an Etsy shop where I sell knitting bags and needle cases, and that's Shop Louleigh, but you can find links to all of my online places at louleigh.com. Welcome. It's so nice to be sitting and chatting to you this morning, and I feel like my spectacles are not on straight. Just felt like they were leaning to one side. That was weird. Yeah, it's really nice to be sitting down and having a chat with you. Welcome to the factory where I make all my bags and needle cases. I have a whole lot of work in progress. I'm getting ready for my shop update today. I thought I would talk to you first thing this morning because I'm waiting for the neighbours to go to work. This neighbour on this side is a shift worker, but he's away on holiday at the moment. But the neighbours we share this wall on right here are still at home, and I'm getting some cases ready to go in the shop. Oh, they've got a few loose threads on. And I just have to put the grommets in, which involves a lot of whacking with a big hammer. So I shall wait to do my whacking before until they go to work, because I should imagine an hour of that isn't going to be much fun for them. But anyway, on with the show. In community news, there's a few things been going on with a couple of things. The normal things have been going on with the Stash Appreciation Society. I drew for the monthly pattern winner, which was kindly donated by Meg from Mrs. M's Curiosity Cabinet, and Mystery Sewer won that prize. It was a pattern prize of her choice. So if you get in touch with me and just let me know what pattern you'd like, we can get that out to you. The other thing is, so the Stash Appreciation Society is a year-long CAL that we have going along to kind of encourage you to rummage through your stash and enjoy the lovely things that you have there. And to enter your project, I think it needs to be about 60% stash yarn. So you could totally supplement it with something that you've purchased this year, if that helps you get your stash out and love it a bit more. We also have the Summer Challenge going along, and so the Summer Challenge runs until the end of August, and it involves using your stash yarn for something other than knitting and crochet, and I have a couple of things that I want to do. So the first thing is an idea that I got from Making magazine. Oh, this magazine is just beautiful. I think I saw the first one and sort of thought, but then I picked up this one at Loop in London and wanted to do absolutely everything in it. It was just so inspiring. But they have a tutorial in here for making Dorset buttons, which are little buttons that are made out of by wrapping yarn in a specific way, wrapping and weaving, I suppose, around a curtain ring. And so, not that you needed to see a curtain ring, I'm guessing you know what that looks like. And so these finally arrived, and I thought I would give that a go as part of the Summer Challenge. The other thing that I wanted to get out and have a play with, I have a little plan for a project, is my pin loom. More rustling. Sorry. Yeah, it's my pin loom. So this is the same concept. I've actually got two of them. So I've got a 10 centimetre one and then a 5 centimetre one. They came from the US, so it's probably a 4-inch one and a 2-inch one or something like that. But we do metric here, so They work on the same concept as the Shacked Zoom Loom, and they came, I forget the name of the people, it was an Etsy seller, I think it was something like Big Farm or something like that. If I can find them again, I shall link to it in the show notes. They came super quick. The service was really good, and I have used these. I've had them for a few years, but I had a cunning plan for a little project. So they came just like this, and then I purchased a doll making needle. I don't even know if you'll be able to see that because it kind of blends in with the background, but it's a big long needle. And I just got the hairy man. I probably could have done it myself. I guess you could do it with a nail file. I should tell you what the hairy man did. He filed the end off, so there's no point. So it's less likely to jab through your yarn as you're doing it. But yeah, it's not a super hard metal, so I think I could probably have got a nail file onto that or something. But that's all I'm using with these, and there are lots of YouTube videos on how to use pin looms. So yeah, I have a little project in mind for that as well, to just use up some of my odds and ends. So that should be good fun. I have another small project that in theory should have taken me no time at all, but I want to finish that before I start other bits and pieces. So those are the two ideas that I had for the summer challenge. In the Louleigh community, we also had the Simple Socks cowl going along, and that has come to an end now, and so I've drawn for the prize for that as well. Simple Socks was a pattern collection of socks that I produced. Yeah, and the winner was Daisy Knitter, so I have I've sent that parcel off to her, and I did get my socks finished in time. Oh, these have got all sorts of bits. Because I've had this massive sort of like production line sewing going on, I should have wiped my table down first because there's all sorts of bits of threads going on here. Yeah, so I finished these are ankle socks with ventilation in the Citrus Blast colourway by Truly Hooked. And I didn't actually do the toe that was in the pattern. Which, given that it's my pattern, might seem rather odd. But I think I was out and about, so I just made it up as I went along. So I did a wedge toe, but instead of doing the increases right at the very edge, I left about 6 stitches. Increases, decreases, right at the very edge. I left about 6 stitches between to make it a bit more three-dimensional. So it'll be interesting to see how that one fits on my foot, and I'm really keen to wear it. The other thing that I do is I have a high instep, so the instep is from the back of your heel to here. So mine is more like this. That doesn't look pretty. Anyway, so I always make the heel flap almost twice as long as it usually would be, and that stops the pattern from being really tight over the top of my instep, over the top of that part of my foot just here. And yeah, the socks just look a lot nicer on. So those are the 2 modifications that I made. And it was really lovely to see all of your socks in the thread. If you are still knitting socks with ventilation, or if you've just started them, I don't know if whips are allowed. If you've just started knitting socks with ventilation, Ellie from Craft House Magic has just started a cowl for summer shorty socks. So you should go over and check out her podcast because she makes all sorts of interesting things. I really enjoy it. Yeah, have a look at her podcast and join in the cowl over there. Be really, really good fun. At the moment, I only have one knitting whip now that I have cast off my socks, and it's Boverton, and I'll show it you, but it does look a lot like last time. So this is a Norwegian cardigan from Koftebukken that I have been knitting out of Jamison and Smith. It's their 2-ply jumper weight in 2 colours. And I have been really enjoying this. It's good fun. And now that I'm onto the body of it, it's quite relaxing knitting, even though there's still colour work all the way down the body. As I say, this doesn't look incredibly different from the last time I showed it you. So, there you go. It's all bunched up on, I like to use a fairly short cable when I'm knitting in the round, just because I feel like when the stitches are all close to each other, they move quicker. So yeah. Now this little marker here is where I was last time. So you can see I haven't made a massive amount of progress. And I'm just making my way down the torso. I think last time I said I was going to try this on, and I haven't, so goodness knows if it fits or not. I hope it does. I should probably just measure it. That would be the sensible thing to do. And then I would know, and I could carry on boldly without having to worry about re-knitting another section. Yes, and it is going to be a cardigan, so this funny bit down the middle at the front here is where I'm going to stick. I should probably stop jiggling it about and just let the camera focus and do its thing. Yeah, so that little orangey coloured marker there was where I was last time. So yeah, not very exciting, just more squares. I think I shall, well, this is probably going to be my main project for a while, but I think I'm going to hold off showing it to you until I've made a bit more progress. I'm just shifting the marker so that when I do show it you next time, it's like watching paint dry. Seriously, it has changed. I've got proof. The washing machine's just gone onto the spin cycle, so oh well, that's just life here. We like clean clothes, so it's a nice day, the sky's blue, you've got to get them out on the line. I have also finished this week my quilt, which has been ongoing for quite a while. But I actually found Jacqueline's quilt along, Jacqueline from Brooklyn Knit Folk, really helpful. Just in the fact that it spurred me along a bit. I had already I'd done all the piecing for the patchwork, and so all these bits here. This was a tutorial from Missouri Star Quilt Company for the 3 Dudes quilt, and the process they have for making these squares was so easy, it's like magic. But then I kind of stalled after that, and so I found Jacqueline's just have a go approach really helpful. I did supplement her tutorials with some other tutorials as well, but I think it just kept me going really, because I was sort of procrastinating and thinking, getting to the next section and thinking, oh, it's going to be hard. This is my second quilt, and I did the first one quite a few years ago under the tutelage of my sewing school teacher, so I'd kind of forgotten what I was supposed to do. Yeah, so the jelly roll was actually left over from another project that I did a few years ago, and oh, it's got a crease in it just there. This is a bag that I made from a Crafty Gemini tutorial, and I think I actually saw the bag on the Minerva Turkey podcast and thought, wow, that's cool, and wanted to make one of my own. So I ordered all the supplies and got some nice leather handles and made this bag, but it uses less than half of the jelly roll, so I had quite a lot left over. And so when I saw the Missouri Star Quilt Company, their tutorial, and it looked so easy, I thought I would give that a go. So it's not perfect. Some of my stitching in the ditch is a bit wonky, and not so much in the ditch. The other thing is that I don't really like this huge black border around the edge. I think it's just a bit heavy. It doesn't feel balanced. It feels like all of this is clustered in the middle, and then it has this big black blank bit around the edge. My corners on some of the bindings are a bit haphazard. And then I had been procrastinating about doing the back because I couldn't get a really good match of fabric. Like, you know how oranges and greys can be hard to, well, greys especially can be really hard to get a nice clean grey that matches well with the one that you've got. But in the end I was sort of like, it's the back. And so I've just done a scrappy back, and the cottons are lovely and soft, so I should imagine when you have this over you it's going to be really nice. I think it's about 1.20 meters. It's not quite square, and I'm going to gift this to the hairy man's stepson and his wife, so it will go and live in their spare room. But now I have the quilting bug. And I already had some other pre-cuts, and I've ordered some more fabric to supplement those. But the hairy man has been complaining about the super cheap fleece blankets that we have on our couch, which is basically a massive dog bed. They do look quite rough, but they're easy to put in the wash once when the dogs are up there and sleeping on them, it's easy just to whip it off and put on a clean one and put them in the wash. So I thought I would start something a bit nicer, and so, but not so nice that I can't just shove it in the wash, or I'll be upset if it gets a bit damaged or something, because it's a high use area, and we have animals. So I got myself a really fun jelly roll that sort of goes in with our colour scheme. Oops, this is not going to be easy to show. I'll just wave it round in front of you like this for a bit. See, there you go. So I ordered the jelly roll thinking I would do something nice and simple, but then it arrives and you get all excited about the jelly roll and start looking at jelly roll patterns and thinking you could do all sorts of complicated things. And so simple was rapidly going out the window. And then I'd seen jelly roll race quilts before, and I wasn't all that enamoured with them. But I came across a couple that were made out of solid colours rather than patterns, and I definitely liked those a lot better. So of a last Friday evening, I was all set to just open this up and crack on with the jelly roll race quilt. And basically what you do for that is you open up your jelly roll and you miter every strip together end to end. You just make a mitered join, so that you have about 40 meters of strips, and then you take one end and match it up with the other end and just sew that strip together in half and then snip it at the end, and then basically you do the same again. You fold it over again and sew it in half again until you end up with yeah, so it's quite random until you end up with, you sew it in half, and I think this is about 1.5 meters, 1.5 meters wide, I think. Yeah, and so it's a lot of sewing. I think the first seam that you sew is about 20 meters long, which is just epic. But it is super quick. And so I was about to start this when I spotted the Jelly Roll Race 2 quilt, which has you put these blocks in between each colour. And they actually suggest that you use a solid coloured charm pack. But I just chopped the ends off my jelly roll strips and then randomly sewed them between. And I'm so pleased I did that because I think it makes it just seem a bit more planned and just a bit more interesting, I think. I think with the solids it looks really good. I tried to put a block between each one that was different from the colours on either side so that they stood out a little bit, but I didn't do too much thinking about it, which is kind of unusual for me. I like to procrastinate and mill over things. Yeah, so my cunning plan is to have this on one side, and then I have bought a linen for the other side so that, you know, linen is quite a strong fabric. I think I have some of it here, but I haven't, whoops, I haven't pressed it. I've washed it and not pressed it. So this is the linen that I'm going to use on the other side. And my cunning plan is to have this side as the side that the dogs sleep on, and then when guests come I can just flip it over to the good side. So yeah, and I'm just waiting for the wadding or batting to come. I've ordered one that's actually made out of recycled bottles. It would have been nice to use a natural fibre, but this is probably going to go in the washing machine every week or two, and so it needs to be quite easy care. So I'm really interested to see what this this batting made out of recycled bottles will be like. That's going to be super fun. So now that the washing machine has ended, that is all from me for today. It's been really lovely to sit down and chat with you again. If this was your first time, thank you for joining me, and I hope you'll come and join us in the Ravelry group and subscribe if you enjoyed yourself. Yeah, it's just been really nice to sit down and have a cup of coffee and chat with you, and I shall see you next time. Bye!